Hey Mavericks, how's it going? This is Rob. It is April 5th, 2022. Let's go in and take a broad look at the market, and then we'll get down into all the individual currencies. But the broad market had a bad day. It actually gave up everything and more that it gained yesterday. So yesterday, the S&P had a nice rally of 0.75%, and it gave that back in another 0.5%. You can see across the board, all asset classes were down. Crypto, gold, oil. And really the impetus of this today was Governor Brainerd came out and was much more hawkish on what the Fed is likely to do with inflation. So everything went down except for interest rates. Interest rates went higher. So if we take a look here at the S&P, we had a nice hammer candle on Friday, followed by a really nice confirmation yesterday. Now, this was a good signal, and you can see that it did not work out, and that's what happens with technical analysis. Sometimes it doesn't work out. However, we haven't yet broken below this low. So until this low is broken, we have to look at this and say, okay, we obviously didn't get what's called a V bottom. When you come down, you hit a point, and then you rock it back up. These are V bottoms, and these are much easier to trade. Sometimes you get a W bottom, and they're messy. Sometimes you get something like this. So at this point, we don't know if we're going to get this W bottom or if we're going to get just a straight off fall to new lows. What we do know is we're not going to get that V bottom. So I know that my bullishness has been dialed back quite a bit for what's going to happen in the equity markets. If we take a look at the VT, which is the world index, you can see it did the same thing. Gave back everything. We're back down to this support level. So we've had 3 times now where it's come down to this level. If we do break this low and actually close below this, that's going to be a good sign that, you know what, this pullback has deeper to go. It just has a lot deeper to go. If we take a look at the cryptos are actually handling everything pretty well. And you can see they've just been sideways for the last 5 days. Just sideways. Until this changes, there is no reason at all to be diving into cryptos at this point. Remember, we want to trade cryptos when they're trending. When they're trending, that's what we want to get them. We want to get them when they're moving. When they're not moving, we don't want to be in them. We don't want to be in these moments. We don't want to be in these moments. Those are just not good trading moments. So Maverick, we always talk about getting the velocity on our side. So my overall view at the first of the week was that this was going to be a +2 kind of week, that the equities was going to be risk on, that it was going to be very positive. And you can see that it just hasn't happened. So I'm downgrading this to a 0 for the week. We had a nice reversal on Friday, a nice confirmation candle on Monday, and then we gave it all up. So at this point, it is very murky, and I don't think you can look at equities and really get a good risk on, risk off feel because it's messy right now. Let's take a look at the calendar. We had the RBA last night, and the RBA came out and they basically said that things are going better than expected, which meant that they're more likely to raise rates faster than the market thought. The Aussie had a nice run off that. The Aussie was up over 1% at one point. It pulled back to close about 0.7 up for the day. We had US PMIs basically about what was expected, so not a big deal. Tomorrow we get FOMC minutes. This is usually a report that you can just sleep through. The last time it kind of rocked the market. It really rocked the market to hear exactly what went on during the meeting and how hawkish everyone was. We just got talk today from Brainerd, and I think we're going to see more of that tomorrow. I could easily see the FOMC minutes possibly causing there to be some more selling in equities tomorrow. That comes out at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then you can see nothing on Thursday, and on Friday we've got Canadian Employment Report, which is typically a good trading opportunity. Now let's jump into each currency individually and see how they did today, and let's give our outlook where it's going over the next 24 hours. Let's take a look first at the cryptos. You can see down 1.5 to 2% across the board. Litecoin was the outperformer. It was only down slightly, but you're going to see that the cryptos right now, they've just been in a range. They've been in a range for the last 5 to 6 days. Until that range breaks, there is no reason at all to dive into them. Foreign currencies have been a much better place to hunt for the first part of this week. We liked the Aussie going into the week. The Aussie did really good. But other than that, you can see if you weren't trading Aussie or yen, I guess Euro was a decent trade today. But really, unless you were in Aussie, it was a tough trading day. There just wasn't enough differential for us to really make any sort of money off of a currency pairs trade. So Aussie was the best. Kiwi CAD is slightly up. Dollar, Swiss franc, pound slightly down. And then Euro and yen were on the weak side. So let's take a look at everything individually on a chart. First up, I'm going to start with Bitcoin. So as you can see here, we've got Bitcoin that has really just been trading between some highs and lows here over really the last, let's call it 4 days here. So the high is 47,200. The low is 45,450. This is not a big range. This is not a big enough range for you to take any sort of risk. And one of the things I want you to really take a look at is look at these long lower and upper shadows. These will kill you when you say, oh, it's finally breaking out. You chase it and it comes right back down into the range. We need to see an entire candle body outside of this range before I can even start to think about getting excited about Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash, you can actually just say, hey, we've been in a longer base. Look, we love bases at Maverick. We love them here. But we love them when they change. At this point, you can see we're just trading between range. Let's call it 383 to the upside, maybe even all the way up to 390. The downside of the last 4 or 5 days has been 364, but I think you've got to go back to 354 to get really this base. Look, these are great patterns. I hope a base is longer, so when it breaks out, it has more energy to make a run. But for right here, right now, definitely not ready to trade. If we take a look at Ethereum, you can see here, this looks better. We still have this very, very tight range, so there's just no reason to be trading it at all today. But when you take a look at the three we've taken a look at, Ethereum is clearly more strong. We've got our exponential moving average moving higher. We've got parabolic SAR moving higher. Everything's telling us, hey, this thing is looking pretty decent. So let's take a look at Litecoin. Litecoin was the outperformer today, but look at this. Moving average is flat. We're not trading at highs like Ethereum. So for me, I don't think any cryptos are good trading here, but if you do have to be in one, I think Ethereum is still the strongest of all of the coins at this moment. Let's take a look at the foreign currencies. Let's first jump into the dollar. Right, so if we take a look at dollar here, I'm going to go down to a 4-hour chart. I want to get the momentum, where the momentum is going right here, right now. For the most part, we have been neutral on dollar. As you go back here, the dollar has been very much caught in a range. We've been talking about this for a long time. The dollar range is simply the low to high here. We don't mind range-bound trading. It's not our favorite style of trading, but range-bound trading can be profitable. But what you need to do is you need to buy at support and sell at resistance. We did just have a nice bounce off support. So in the short term, you can see that there's a little bit, again, it's mostly just sideways here. We take a look here at a 4-hour chart. We say, okay, this is the chart we look for velocity. We're looking for the things that are moving and moving with strength and moving with direction. And here we have, it's not great. Look at this exponential moving average. It's just been going up and down, up and down. Yes, we're on a little bit of a run at this point. The question is this going to be the thing that breaks us out of this prior resistance back here? It doesn't look promising to me. It doesn't look promising. So I'd give this dollar a +1. It's likely going to go higher, but not at any sort of velocity that I'm interested in. This here is the yen. And if we take a look at the yen, we do have declining EMAs. We have declining parabolic SAR. We have declining RSI. This is a -3. So the yen is absolutely on my short radar over the next 24 hours. And here's a daily chart, and you can see if we break this last low, we are looking at new lows, possibly looking at a pretty substantial move to the downside. So yen is absolutely a tradable currency over the next 24 hours. Swiss franc. All right, so we look at the Swiss franc, we see that the EMA has turned down, parabolic SAR is coming down, RSI is coming down, but not at the speed and velocity as the yen. This is still a tradable currency. It's still moving. It still has a velocity score of greater than 2 or greater than -2. But remember, we're always trying to get the best one. What is the weakest currency? We go to euro. Euro is looking really atrocious at the moment. This looks like the weakest of all the currencies. So we just took a look at 3 currencies, yen, euro, Swiss franc, and you can see that the euro is by far the weakest. And we just had a big fall. We just have RSI bottoming out under 30 here. This is where I don't like to enter trades at this point. I like to see a base. I like to see a base, or I like to see a rally. I would prefer to see a base. Bases are the best here. I really hope that we can go sideways for the next, call it 12 hours, and then break down below. I would love euro on a short here. Taking a look at the pound. The pound is moving lower, but not at really any sort of fast pace. So I'd call this like a -1, -2 at the most. I'm not interested, just not interested at all in the pound at this moment. Okay, so here's CAD, and CAD's got some movement to the upside. You can see EMA is moving higher, parabolic SAR is moving higher. Okay, but we still have some resistance over here. Until it breaks through that resistance, I'm really worried that this is really just trading in a range here. And I want to be a buyer of this thing when it's not just in a range, when it's actually making some moves. CAD's got some more work to prove to me that it's going to go somewhere. Let's check in on the Aussie. This was definitely the standout from Monday. So you can see here we made a nice run to the upside, made new highs. Let's see if there's any resistance. No, there's no recent resistance here. So at this point, we have to assume that after it's had its run, we are likely to get a pullback, or we're likely to get a base. So let's take a look at some levels here. Again, we're looking at the Australian dollar basket, evenly weighted against the other 7 currencies that we look to trade. A pullback would definitely help with the taking a little bit of a pressure off the Aussie, giving it some time to build momentum. A base would even be better. A base would be a signal that, hey, it really wants to stay strong here. I like Aussie. Aussie looks great. The question is it ready to go right now? We just had a 1% run. I think we got to wait for it to come back a little bit. So maybe Wednesday, Thursday, it might be a better trading period for the Aussie. I love the Aussie on the long side. I'm looking at the next 24 hours, and I think there's some other currencies. Here's the Kiwi, and you can see that Kiwi had a run, made some new highs, but then we've backed off down here, and we went below this breakout level, which is a confirmation that we're probably still in this range. So until the Kiwi can get back up above this range, up here to 73.80, I'm just not all that interested. So looking at everything as we rank them, you can see here that Aussie and dollar are about the only things that you can look at on the long side, and they're only at a +2. I love the euro short. I think the euro is going to be the best short over the next 24 hours. I think the yen is the second best short. The problem is I don't have anything I love on the long side. If I had to make a trade, if someone had a gun to my head and said, Rob, you have to make a trade over the next 24 hours, I would probably be long dollar. So let's take a look at some of these currency pairs paired up against each other, and let's see if we can identify some possible trades. So one of the things we love to do at Maverick is pair up the two currencies that we're thinking about going long. So we're thinking about, okay, Aussie dollar. We like the Aussie long. I like the dollar long. Which one's better? We just pair these two up, and you can see for a long period of time, they were highly correlated. They were moving together. And it wasn't until April 4th that we saw a breakout off the RBA news. And you can see we ran up and now we're pulling back. The question is, would you want to buy Aussie dollar or sell Aussie dollar? And right here, I would actually rather buy Aussie dollar. So what this does, this tells me that I do like Aussie better than dollar. Even though I thought I would like the dollar better, when I pair these two up, I say, boy, I like the Aussie better here. And we can do the same thing on the downside. Remember, we're looking for what's better out of the euro and the yen. You can see for a while there, euro was clearly stronger than yen. You can see that over the last day or two, we've really started to come down where euro is weaker than yen. So it has confirmed to me that euro is weaker than yen. So I want to pair up my weakest currency against my strongest one, and that is Euro Aussie. So this is how we hunt. We're looking at these specific pairs. So Euro Aussie, we've got a big move lower. At this point, we've bottomed out. We need to wait. This is just a period of time where we need to wait. We could trade in this range. So, 143.50, let's call 143.50 was support. Let's see if we can get all the way up to this 145. I don't think it will. I think we're going to low base here, but we're not ready for a trade yet. We're going to need to wait, 8 hours, 12 hours, probably to the European session before we get a break on this. But I think setting at least an alert at 143, let's call it 55 to give us a little bit of room. I think that's the area you want to be starting to tune in for a trade here on short Euro Aussie. Depending on how long this thing bases here, we take a trend line here and we say, okay, this is going to be a tough trend line to find. I'm going to say 141.80. We could snap some Fibonacci's as well, but we'll take care of this on the entry here. 143.50 is what I'm looking for on Euro Aussie. Let's take a look at the other combinations. So we also had euro against dollar. So dollar was our second favorite currency. And you can see the momentum here on euro dollar is actually even steeper. We just had about a 5 candle. So on a 4-hour chart, that's about a 1-day base. And then we fell. We're likely to see another base here, but euro dollar looks really good on the short side as well. We are looking at some support levels here. So let's pull up some support levels. Boy, we're right at a support level now. So I do like this setup quite a bit, and the fact that we just had this extended range move. We broke down from 109.70 all the way down to 109. This is likely going to be the floor for the next, let's call it 4 to 12 hours. I would love to see either a little bounce or a base and then a breakdown, because I think you can take a look and see next target is going to be 108.20. So that's going to be a nice 80 pip move. That's potential here on euro dollar. And then the last one I want to pair together, let's take a look at dollar yen. So we like the yen, the second best short, and the dollar, the second best long. As you can see here, euro dollar looks okay at this point. We just broke out of some little bit of resistance here. We're going to have some more resistance somewhere up in this area of the 124.40 area. We're at 123.60. This is 80 pips. That is 0.6, 0.7%. And that's absolutely, again, I don't look for anything under 0.5%. So anything over 0.5%, I start to say, okay, there's enough meat on the bone for me to take a look at this. The question is, where's the timing? Where's the entry? As you can see here, over the last 8 hours, we've had really no price action. We've just had some sideways price action. So if we go up here to a 1 hour chart, I'm more than happy to let this thing high base. And when it breaks out above this 123.65, 66 area, I think that's going to be the entry here on dollar yen. So I do think there's 3 tradable positions here: Euro Aussie short, Euro dollar short, and dollar yen to the upside. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. So we usually get these big drivers of the equity markets where, we have the equity markets pushing all risk assets higher or pushing all safe assets higher. At this point, I don't think it's clear at all. We had an up day on Monday and a down day on Tuesday. It is definitely not clear. So do not look for any macro push from equities to tell you what's going on in currencies. We got to trade this from the bottom up this time. We have to look at every single currency and see which one is going to be the best. We like Aussie and dollar long and euro and yen short. And look, we're in the middle of a war. There's going to be news that comes out that's very unexpected. Just plan for that and know that you always need to have your protective orders in. We are going to be meeting tomorrow for the midweek update, as usual on Wednesday, and also on Thursday, we're going to do a psychology lab, and I'm going to go over your programming. Make sure to join me. Everyone, take care.